So, have you noticed this? It feels like everyone is suddenly tracking their blood sugar, even people who don't have diabetes. But is this a real health revolution, or is it just the latest wellness trend? Let's break down what the experts are actually saying about it.
I'm sure you've seen them while scrolling through your feed, those little patches on people's arms. They're called continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs, and they've kicked off a huge debate. The big question is, should you be using one too? Let's find out.
Okay, but before we can answer that, we need to do a quick crash course on how your body actually handles sugar in the first place.
All right, so let's get on the same page. Blood sugar, which is also called glucose, is basically your body's #1 fuel source. It's the energy that powers pretty much everything you do, and it comes from the carbohydrates you eat. And how does that work? Well, the process is actually pretty straightforward. You eat some carbs, your body gets to work breaking them down into glucose, and then that glucose hits your bloodstream. That's the signal for your pancreas to release a hormone called insulin. And you can think of insulin as the key that unlocks your cells, letting all that glucose in so it can be used for energy. Simple, right?
Now here's where it gets really interesting. You might think it's just, a candy bar or a soda that spikes your blood sugar. But get this, all sorts of things can do it. Not getting enough sleep, a bad sunburn, even your morning cup of black coffee. Being dehydrated can do it, and believe it or not, even the time of day can have an effect. It's way more complicated than most of us think. So, with all these different things that can mess with your blood sugar, does it really make sense for the average person to start tracking every little spike and dip? Let's see what the experts have to say.
And honestly, the answer from most experts is pretty clear. Here's the bottom line. If you don't have diabetes, your blood sugar is supposed to go up and down. Those fluctuations are completely normal. It's actually a sign that your body is working correctly.
In fact, put some actual numbers on this. A big study back in 2019 looked at this exact thing. And what they found was that healthy people have blood sugar levels outside the so-called normal range about 4% of the time. That works out to about an hour every single day. So a spike after you eat isn't a red flag, it's just your body doing its job.
I love this quote from Dr. Sun Kim at Stanford. She says, "Your body is actually very good at controlling glucose. To obsess about small rises in glucose is unfair." It's such a great way to put it. You're basically criticizing your body for working exactly as it should.
And that leads to another huge point, something Dr. Raymond Herzog from Yale brought up. All this constant monitoring can it can make you anxious for no reason. You see a spike and you start to worry that something's wrong when, in fact, everything is perfectly fine.
Plus, you have to remember, the data you're getting isn't always the full picture. For one, these sensors were designed for people with diabetes, so their accuracy can be a little iffy for healthy people. And just because a food doesn't spike your sugar doesn't mean it's good for you. As Dr. Kim pointed out, a cookie might not cause a huge spike, but that doesn't magically make it a health food. At the end of the day, blood sugar is just one piece of a much, much bigger health puzzle.
Okay, so with all that said, this isn't a totally black and white issue. There is an exception to the rule, one group of people who actually could benefit from this kind of monitoring.
And we're talking about people who have a condition called prediabetes. This is when your blood sugar levels are consistently higher than normal, but not quite high enough to be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. It's a serious warning sign.
So for this specific group, a CGM can actually be a game changer. It gives them real-time feedback on how their choices, what they eat, how much they exercise, are affecting their blood sugar. And that can empower them to make changes that might actually prevent them from developing type 2 diabetes down the road.
So for the vast majority of us, what's the real path to health here? Is it getting lost in the weeds with obsessive tracking that's expensive, stressful, and not even that accurate? Or is it about focusing on the bigger picture, on holistic habits that are proven to work, are sustainable, and manage blood sugar as just one part of your overall well-being?
All right, so let's talk about those smarter habits. What actually works for keeping your blood sugar healthy? No fancy device needed.
Look, the advice from experts isn't some crazy new secret, but it's what's proven to work time and time again. We're talking about eating a well-balanced diet, rich in fiber and lean proteins that keep you stable, moving your body regularly, trying to eat at consistent times, and the simple stuff like drinking water instead of soda and reaching for a piece of fruit instead of a processed snack. These are the powerful habits that keep your entire body in balance, blood sugar included.
And really, that brings us back to the big question, doesn't it? When we're on this journey for well-being, is the ultimate goal just to collect more and more data points, or is it to build good, sustainable habits that lead to genuinely better health? Definitely something to think about.